like to see Staten Island develop in a direction that hasn't been followed by the other boroughs, at least Queens and the Bronx, which once had the opportunity. I'd like to see Staten Island take advantage of its greatest asset, which is open space.
Staten Island officials cite health concerns as another reason to put the brakes on congestion pricing. They say Staten Island already has significantly higher rates of asthma, respiratory illness, and lung cancer compared to the rest of the city, and more cars coming through the borough to avoid tolls will only make it worse.
We think there's a chance to improve the standards of development, and that really is my principal mission, to see what can be done to improve our standards and to improve our image, to give Staten Island an image of quality and an image of success.
Could you live on Staten Island? You couldn't, right?
No.
No way, right?
No, that's like planet traveling on Staten Island.
Yuck to Staten Island.
I think that Staten Island can be developed properly, it can be developed logically, but we need a little time to catch up for the years during which Staten Island has, in fact, been the forgotten borough.
There's not a lot out there in Staten Island, especially for a first-time homebuyer. The average price is around $700,000 for a house. Like right now, the electric is crazy. I know we're paying over $500 a month for electric. That's an insane bill. That's a mortgage.
Traffic is getting a little heavy. That expressway, as you know, to get from one side of the island to the other side of the island, it takes quite a while.
All of a sudden, we have a parking problem. Everybody has to make sure they take one spot. Everybody has 2 and 3 cars now. And of course, traffic.
You know, you can't get anywhere. You can't get to work. You know, what is our public transportation? A bus that takes just as long as it does in your car, a little longer because of stops. Or if you happen to be lucky enough to live on the train line, you could take the train to the ferry, wait for the ferry, and then take the ferry over to Manhattan.
It has gotten overpopulated, and you know, they put this 121 precinct over here on Richmond Avenue, which generates also a lot of traffic, a lot of noise. So, you know, that quietness that we were so used to, it's all of a sudden getting interrupted.
Being from an island, being from a transportation desert, being unique, being that fifth borough, being from the place that, depending on how old you are, from the dump.
Down here, there was a movie theater that we would call Garbage Movies. Where are we going tonight? Well, we're going to Garbage Movies. It was awful. And I really feel for all of the people who lived in the communities of Travis and Heartland Village and the surrounding areas, because they had to live with what was that terrible pungent odor that came from the landfill.
And I think it gets overlooked sometimes because we become the, oh, you're from Staten Island, you're a Jersey Shore wannabe or a mob wife or whatever else they want to call us.
When you say you're from Staten Island, is it a red borough? There are no people of color, there's no minorities here. We're backwards. So there's a lot of things that have these negative connotations when you say you're from Staten Island, but what's interesting is that when people actually come here, they're blown away by the typography, they're blown away by how beautiful it is.
I can't even believe we're in Staten Island. I can't believe this used to be a landfill. Fresh Kills Park is a symbol of transformation. This is one of the most incredible large landscape parks to be built in New York City. This is 2,200 acres of parkland, 3.5 times the size of New York City's Central Park, with 11 miles of coastal waterway. It shows us what can happen when we think big and we all work together, from government to community to elected officials to industry. This is what you get when everybody gets together and works toward a positive goal.
But Staten Island is more than just parks. Our industrial heritage has played a crucial role in shaping our identity and a legacy we continue to build on. Staten Island has been New York City's quiet workhorse for generations. Our shipyards and factories were all vital to the city's growth and infrastructure, driving the economy forward from the late 1800s to the mid-20th century.
People are fascinated by the industrial parts of Richmond Terrace. I think they start with the fact that it's part of Staten Island's history, right? If there's always an old story of what was here or what was in this location back 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. And I think that's what people love most, is the history that the industrial area of Richmond Terrace presents for Staten Islanders.
We have a lot of rich history, you know, whether it's the North Shore, Mid-Island, South Shore, Conference House played a tremendous part in the peace process during the American Revolution as well.
For decades, Staten Islanders have provided vital services that have fueled the growth of New York City. From shipbuilding to logistics, we've always been the heart of the region's industrial power.
You know, we're all aware we're on an island, but I think a lot of the times it's lost on people how much industry is actually here.
We see Staten Island as part of a bigger region, a part of a bigger slice of the state of New York, but we can't have that vision without working with the individual business owners and those folks who want to be business owners.
I've toured May Ship Repairs, I've toured the ports. You see that so much, especially during COVID, so much of the industry that was keeping New Yorkers going was coming in through our Staten Island harbor. And I think that's really important that the rest of the city realize how valuable we are to the 5 boroughs. And we are one of the 5 boroughs.
We have people that are the backbone of the city. We have the blue-collar workers. We have the plumbers, the electricians, the cops, the firemen. They live on Staten Island. That's what we're known for. And, you know, we built the rest of New York in a large part because we have these people here, and we still do.
Historically, New York City has often overlooked Staten Island and used it as a place to solve its problems. We've been used as a dumping ground for the city's waste. Our open spaces were treated as an opportunity for large projects that just didn't fit elsewhere. From the creation of Fresh Kills landfill to a large industrial complexes, Staten Island has always been seen as the place with extra space. But now with the green economy on the rise, it's time for local people to benefit directly from these federal initiatives.
Today, we're here in Mariners Harbor. This whole area used to be a sought-after area for people to live. Today, people are struggling to get by. What people don't realize is that right next door, there's a vital lifeline for people to get into the new green economy.
The green economy, for me personally on the island, it represents opportunity. This is a completely new industry. Things like this don't come along often. This is almost like getting in on the beginnings of cell phone technology. And people, you know, when they think of offshore industry, it's obviously natural to think about the wind turbines that are going to be out in the sea. But those bring jobs in terms of computer science jobs, accounting jobs, logistics positions in business. It's a great opportunity to bring good paying jobs all across the island. It's not only the students that are excited, it's the faculty that are excited. Traditionally, our workforce development was focused on healthcare. We also have some tech, and that's growing as well. But this has offered us an opportunity to bring in 4, 5, 6 new certificate programs I can see in the next few years, connecting people to jobs, and that's important.
I think it's also really important to point out that these industrial jobs and these renewable energy jobs mean more jobs here on Staten Island. And when people have jobs and they have security, that means more safety for our community as well.
We see on the business level at the SIEDC, the number of out-of-state companies that are interested or coming to look at Staten Island for locations for their business in this new economy. You know, one example that they're no longer strangers, but the Arthur Kill terminals. Charles and Boone.
I'm Boone Davis. I'm the CEO of Arthur Kill Terminal and Atlantic Offshore Terminals. Arthur Kill Terminal will be an offshore wind staging and assembly port on the southwest corner of Staten Island. That is going to be the only port within hundreds of miles of New York Harbor that doesn't have air draft restrictions and that can support the full range of vessels and methods that are used to build offshore wind turbines. Infrastructure projects don't happen without, very broad, very deep community support, and Staten Island has shown terrific support really from day one. There's so many different organizations from SIIA, SIEDC, the Chamber of Commerce, CUNY College of Staten Island, and dozens of others that are very interested to see green jobs occur here, to see smart development occur here that doesn't have unnecessary impacts on the public and the community. And this project, I think, checks a lot of boxes in that it's a sort of thoughtful, kind of forward-looking investment opportunity that targets a very big emerging industry that makes great use of the skills and competencies that already exist on Staten Island. Staten Island is the marine construction capital of the East Coast, so it's only logical that jobs associated with offshore wind occur here.
Because I think many of these companies that are not just US based but internationally based have realized that Staten Island really is a center point and a critical point as it relates to wind and green energy. And we can just continue to support those efforts, and we will.
Our future isn't something that's being decided for us. It's something that we're actively shaping.
It's hard to believe that this entire area was space that people didn't necessarily use, and now it's one of the busiest streets that you see within this part of the island. This is one of Staten Island's latest developments. It was quite a feat. It took over 30 years of local Staten Islanders investing and demanding their own business space. We want to make sure that people have the opportunities to create offices where they live. They shouldn't be commuting to other boroughs. And this is just proof that when people come together and demand and invest in Staten Island, things can really happen.
Is so critically important. New York City has aging infrastructure, right? It's a very old city, and it needs to be modernized. It needs to be brought into the 21st century. And the way we've done that is by making sure that we deliver funds for our needs, whether it be sewer infrastructure. We've delivered millions of dollars for different sewer projects on Staten Island. The East Shore Seawall, which is going to protect the businesses and residents that were affected mostly by Hurricane Sandy. We're seeing right now the North Shore Action Plan.
Put together the North Shore Action Plan, which really illustrates, I would say, 5 decades of defunct projects in various stages of funding and completion, and put them together and draw this picture of what could be and activate it.
I would love to see our waterways used more for transportation. One of the things we complain most about as Staten Islanders is the level of traffic we deal with. And having more water taxis, things that can bring people from neighborhood to neighborhood, just starting to think bigger about this and working together with all of our colleagues at every level of government on Staten Island is really important.
But I think that leaders are making very uncomfortable but necessary changes so we can have a world after we're all long gone.
At the heart of everything that makes Staten Island special are the people who live here. It's the small businesses, it's the family-owned restaurants, and the rich, diverse culture that define who we are as a community. From the food we eat to the local businesses that have been passed down through generations.
The beauty of Staten Island and growing up in Staten Island is you get to know some amazing people. Loyal, love this community, love this country, have served not only this city but this country in many different ways. And very often the people you grew up with become lifelong friends. And so I'm blessed to have many of those in my life, younger, older, and people, I think, really look out for each other here.
You're gonna hear some incredible stories because we all grew up together, and that's so unique.
I'd like to introduce a good friend of mine, Hector. He's here 20-something years right now. We consider him the mayor of our block. Anything goes on, you call Hector, it gets taken care of. He's the best.
Hey,
He's the best.
molto bella, eh? Molto bella.
Well, I have a lot of attachments now. My 3 children grew up here, and we have very, very fond memories. We made excellent friends. All our neighbors were very, very friendly, and it's just a nice place to be.
And I took my neighbor with me, my neighbor from Brooklyn, and we bought the houses next door to each other.
Why do you love this neighborhood so much?
Well, let me tell you, start by saying my neighbors. Oh yeah, we can't forget my neighbors. Actually, we do have good neighbors here, by the way. We look out for one another here.
My closest friend lives next door. So my other buddy lives across the street. It's still neighborhood.
Every bite of food, every local shop, every neighbor who helps one another, that's what makes Staten Island great. And the people of Staten Island deserve to benefit from the growth and transformation that's happening all around us. They deserve local jobs, reliable transportation, clean open spaces, and the economic opportunities that will ensure that Staten Island continues to thrive.
Staten Island is the borough of parks. It is neighborhoods, it's communities, it's St. Peter's versus Curtis on Thanksgiving night to start the basketball season. It is Danino's Pizza, and Ralph's Ices.
Staten Island's a great place to raise a family. Staten Island is a place that loves this country. It's patriotic.
Staten Island is the underdog in New York City, but never underestimate us.
Staten Island's a great place to do business.
Staten Island is culturally diverse.
Staten Island is the best place to live on earth.
Staten Island is ready.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Nadia Adam, and I'm the president of the Staten Island Industrial Alliance.
Staten Island has the best food, I would say, in the country, at least the state.
You guys know that the last time I was in a documentary about Staten Island, I was nominated for an Oscar, right? So